This is the farm home of Mr. L.J. Haley of Illinois. Mr. Haley is a progressive, successful farmer operating a fully diversified and well-managed farm. Here he comes now. Listen to what he has to say about McCormick Deering tractors and service. Mr. Haley.
I have been farming for more than 35 years. That's not as long as lots of farmers have been in the business, but it's long enough for me to learn something. If my experience will be of any help to some of the younger men, I shall be glad of it. When 3 of my workhorses died within a year, it taught me how expensive and unreliable horses are for farming. That's a heavy loss for any farmer to take. Besides the trouble and interference with the work, I made up my mind I needed a more economical and satisfactory power and began to investigate tractors. But there was the question as to which particular make would be the most profitable to us. I had read the Harvestor company's advertisement stating that it was the world's largest tractor builder, and it seemed reasonable to believe that a company with a record of over 100 years of making and selling farm machinery, and which built and sold more tractors than any other company, must have the best product on the market. For I have great confidence in the judgment of farmers. You may fool some of them on a machine, but I don't believe anybody can fool nearly 1 million of them. But I learned years ago that buying a good machine is not enough. The machine is only as good as the service behind it. One farm paper maintains that a column to furnish to its subscribers as to where repair parts of old machines can be obtained. I notice that quite often the reply is to the effect that the manufacturer of the machine has gone out of business and repair parts are no longer available. I knew I would never have to worry about that if I had a McCormick Deering tractor. Another thing I noticed, which appealed to me strongly, was the fact that neighbors who had bought farmalls could use the very latest equipment with them. The company did not make frequent and radical changes in the design of the tractors. Apparently, they were right before they were marketed. And if a farmer traded in his old tractor and kept his old planter, cultivator, and so forth, they would fit his new farmall. That kind of standardization means real economy to the farmer. Speaking of disposing of used equipment, it is surprising what a ready market there is for second-hand farmalls and equipment. At every public sale, I've seen McCormick Deering machines sell higher than any other make. I know the Harvestor company maintains a large force of skilled engineers and draftsmen to check every detail before a machine is even okayed for experimental purposes. Also, that thorough field tests are made with numerous experimental tractors in the different parts of the country before a tractor is approved for manufacture and sale. I believe that most farmers will agree with me that the company and the service behind a machine are just about as important as the service built into a machine. Sooner or later, repair parts are sure to be needed for any farm implement. So naturally, I checked into the matter of service on the McCormick Deering tractor, and what I learned ought to be of interest to any farmer who does not already know about it. I dropped into the McCormick Deering dealer's place to find out how well prepared he was to furnish service to a man like me who did not know much about such a machine. I found out he had a very complete stock of repair parts for every model of McCormick Deering tractor in this neighborhood. I learned there were a lot of McCormick Deering tractors around here more than 10 years old, and their owners very seldom fail to get any repair they need when they call for it. But what interested me most was the fact that the McCormick Deering dealer maintains a complete up-to-date service department for doing repair work on any McCormick Deering tractor for a simple replacement to a complete overhauling job. I did not find such ready and complete service available for all other makes of tractors. The McCormick Deering dealer has a motor truck to come out to my farm and haul the tractor to his service station where it can be thoroughly cleaned and worked on in a clean shop, which I do not have and very few farmers do. I think it is just as important that a tractor should run under clean conditions as it is for an automobile. I haven't needed this service as yet and don't expect to need it often, but I do like to know that such a complete first-class shop is available when I do need it. To be sure, his mechanics are local boys, but I found that they had been well trained by the service manager from the branch house so that they are real experts on McCormick during repairing. I also learned that the service manager from the branch house, as well as those from all other branch houses, had attended schools put on by the Harvestor Company at the factories where they had been trained by factory experts in the proper way to make repairs so as to have the job done right and at the same time in the quickest and cheapest manner. These service managers then not only train the servicemen for the local dealers, but are always subject to call for advice or help if the dealer's men need any assistance on a tough job. Today, most automobile repairing is done in service stations by experienced mechanics. I think most tractor owners also prefer to have their tractor repairs made in a modern service station by mechanics who have been especially trained for the work. I know I do. I found that in the dealer service station there was some of the finest quality shop equipment and several specially designed machines to speed up the work of making repairs on McCormick Deering tractors and at the same time doing the job right. Take valve grinding for example. I saw a specially designed machine doing this work much faster and more accurately than it could be done the old way by hand, or in pulling the removable cylinder sleeves in the McCormick Deering engine. A simple device does the work quickly and easily. By the way, this removable sleeve feature is one I like very much. New factory fitted sleeves, pistons, and rings make the old engine like new at much less cost than reboring, and they can be inserted in a few hours. They had a magneto testing table equipped to make complete tests of any magneto used on the McCormick Deering tractors, which tells instantly whether a magneto is in good order, and if it is not, it locates the trouble. Special tools are required for certain work on tractors, the same as on automobiles, and the dealer had a full set of wrenches, pullers, reamers, and so forth to do any job efficiently. Another thing, the McCormick Deering dealer handles only the genuine repair parts made by the same manufacturer who built the machine and not the will-fit kind. Here again, I feel that the manufacturer of the machine will have a much greater interest in seeing that his repair parts are of the very best quality, while the manufacturer of will-fit parts has not the same interest. I learned that all McCormick Deering tractor repair parts are made on the same by the same workmen from the same patterns and the same specifications as the original parts, and are identical in every respect. Some folks have the idea that repair parts are made especially for repair purposes, but I found this is not true so far as McCormick Deering repair parts are concerned. When the repairs department needs parts, they are taken from the regular production, and no one knew when they were made which parts were going to be assembled immediately into new machines and which ones were going to be used for repairs. I was rather surprised to learn that the McCormick Deering dealer here is one of 8,000 such dealers all over the United States. This means that every farmer, no matter where he may be located, is within easy reaching distance of a dealer who is prepared to give him prompt and satisfactory service at reasonable cost. My son Bob, who does most of the work with our Farmall 12, was as in as I was in selecting the tractor that would be of greatest value to us. He will back me up in everything I say about the Farmall and McCormick Deering service.
Yes, Dad and I are more than pleased with our Farmall. We no longer have any uneasiness over our farm power, knowing we can get real service anytime we need it.
What we learned about the service available for McCormick Deering tractors caused us to buy a Farmall 12, which has proved highly satisfactory in every respect. Bob and I are more convinced of its value and economy now than we were when we first started with it. With its low-cost operation and the service facilities offered by the McCormick Deering dealer, I do not expect to have any tractor worries for many years to come.
Mr. Haley is only one of hundreds of thousands of farmers who have learned from investigation or experience the real value of the service behind McCormick Deering tractors.